Hello, hey there everybody. Great to see you. Welcome to Beetle Brad's channel. Today's a great day. Today we're having fun. We're talking about Apple. Boom, boom, boom. And one of the offshoots that I'm talking about today is Badfinger, which was a great band that started in actually 1961. They were called the Ivies. But it didn't take place really for Badfinger, the group, until 1968 when Paul McCartney took notice of them and they became Badfinger. So today I'm going to go through a bunch of my Badfinger stuff. I'm not going to give you so much of a history or discussion or anything like that. I'm going to show you some of the things that you can buy and some of the albums that you can purchase and stuff like that. So what do you say we get started? And thank you very much for tuning in. Like I said, Badfinger at this time basically was Paul McCartney getting them started with their music and all of that kind of stuff. They did perform, Badfinger did perform with George Harrison and the concert for Bangladesh as well. So I didn't want to miss out on that. I know once I started rolling and started talking, I wouldn't be able to do that. But first off, Ringo Starr was in the movie with Badfinger, and it's The Magic Christian. This was a movie that they did. Mine's still in the original wrap, which is kind of cool. A friend of mine has this as an original promo, which would be really cool to have, definitely. Anyway, Magic Christian, great song. Come and Get It. For years and years, everybody thought that was the Beatles themselves performing Come and Get It. But as we found out, it was Badfinger. But a lot of people thought it was the Beatles. So there was a lot of talk because, you know, Ringo being in the movie. The movie itself is okay. It's not bad. I'll show you a little bit more of the lineup of the songs. I've got the movie, and it's okay. It's with Peter Sellers. It's not one of the best movies you want to pull out. You know, if you had some friends over and that kind of thing, you know, you just don't want to drag the movie out. I mean, it's good, but it's one of those where you'd say, oh, well, I've got better, you know. This was pretty much the next album that came up by Badfinger. Oh, and I meant to mention also Come and Get It when Paul McCartney did it. Paul, in a lot of bootlegs, you can find Come and Get It with the Beatles doing it as well on bootlegs. And Paul McCartney has done it by himself also in concert, which was kind of cool to see that Paul has done the song himself solo-wise and in concert, which is, yeah, that's pretty cool. This next follow-up album is a very good album of theirs. This is pretty much when the band started to form, I think. This is when the band started to really become a band. You can find some of the Ivies stuff out there. The Ivies, you know, some of their albums, I meant to say. You can find some of their stuff as well. And that's kind of neat, you know, the Ivies, to get those. I don't have any. I'd like to, but it's just one of those, it's just, you know, another album on the list. There's a big list. The next album they did, which was a great album, had a lot of big hits, No Dice. And these albums are really starting to get good, really good. This is a fantastic album, really good. The cover and then the inside of the band themselves. The band, as we will find out in my discussion, changes a lot and has a lot of issues. A lot of issues. My original insert. And this was also on Apple, which was kind of the great thing about Badfinger was they did get signed on to Apple label as well, which really, having Paul McCartney writing your first song, and Paul McCartney basically told them when they did come and get it, they said, oh, no, no, we want to change it and do it this way. And Paul says, no, I want you to do it this way. And this, you will have the hit if you do this. And Paul was absolutely right. You know, by doing that, it became the hit that they did have. But I think it would have been really different to hear them do it their way. But Paul definitely gave them the hit, that's for sure. This next album, Straight Up, is definitely the band's Sgt. Pepper, I feel like. This is a terrific, terrific album. Really good, really great album. Because you can see the lineup on all these albums. If you're kind of like, well, you're going a little too fast. Well, I got a lot to cover, but also insert. Also, if you need to take a look at the songs themselves, go ahead and pause it on your own, because it just makes it a little bit easier. And like I said, it's on Apple as well. Great album. I love playing this album. This is fantastic. And then in '93, this was a special UK pressing of Straight Up. This is, they came out with these in the mid-90s to late 90s, in between there. But this is the album with extra, over this way, all extra bonus tracks. And the bonus tracks are the original mixes and stuff like that. By showing you this album that I just showed you, this is great because I love the extra tracks. These albums are very collectible. This is a UK pressing. These are fantastic. I'd love to have all of these, but since they're double albums, they are pricey. And for the first time ever, we got a gatefold. So in the original album that I just showed you, did not have a gatefold, but this one does, and that's just fantastic. So really love this album, and the outtakes and things are just magnificent. Plus the sound quality of this, and I don't know, is anybody out there in my channel who watches me, does anybody else have these albums that I'm talking about? They're two albums. Every single one of them are double albums. So, you know, with bonus tracks. The sound quality is fantastic. I'm not sure if they're 180 gram or not, though. They might be. But like I said, just not too sure on the second record. This is one of those albums where I could just enjoy listening to the outtakes almost more than the album. And this album, to me, when Badfinger put this album out that I just showed you, Straight Up, I really feel as if that was their Pepper, you know, as Beatles kind of talking. Sort of felt like that's their Sgt. Pepper album. And then next to follow up, this is starting to get into, but Badfinger during this time that we're going through now, Badfinger, of all bands and all groups and all situations that go on, Badfinger is probably a band that should not have been really a band. They had unbelievable financial problems. They had spent money like crazy. They made bad signing deals, almost like the Beatles. They just had one problem after another, and they just continued to have problems. Even though they rolled out the hits after hits after hits, the guys were falling apart. And this album, which came up next, there's a song on here, it's Time for Me to Go, which was a big hit, Time to Go. This song basically said, we're done with Apple. We're no longer going to be a part of Apple. So this was kind of their break from Paul McCartney and all of that. So this was kind of their album of saying, we've had enough of you guys in control and all of that as well. And the insert kind of goes very well with the name of the album, which is an interesting title for an album. And the carrot dangling over above really signifies of how they felt they were being treated as a band. And then the sad thing is, for Badfinger, things couldn't have gotten worse financially, but they did. Things really fell apart for Badfinger. When Pete died, the guy in the band who's kind of the lead singer and all that kind of stuff, he hung himself in 75. I'm doing this by recollection, if I remember. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's in 75. He hung himself, and it was just tragic. The whole band about fell apart, and pretty much they did. They brought in different musicians and different things, and then this is when the albums kind of changed. They went to a different record label. This album came out, and this album's okay. It's not the greatest. Here, I'll show you the lineup. It's not bad, but it certainly has a different sound than the original Badfinger, as you know. So it's a good album. You know, if you want to add it to your collection of Badfinger, it definitely would be a good album to add to it, but I wouldn't knock myself out to rush out right now. Wait till my video's over to buy it. And they tried really hard to keep the band together, keep things going, and this is my next one. This is a good album. This isn't bad. This is a promotional copy, radio station promotional copy. Got my, there it is up there. There's my sticker or stamp or whatever. This is a pretty good album. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good album, but it's not like your early good stuff. That's for sure. A Badfinger. Gosh, I'm trying to think of something, but I can't think of it. You know how you kind of get a mind block of something that you want to say, but you just can't think of it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. One of the people that's out in the vinyl community, Tim Allen, he's got a bunch of Badfinger stuff. So I know Tim, watch his channel, Tim Allen. He's got some great stuff. Tim can certainly talk about Badfinger. That's for sure. Their next album, and this is a white label promo copy also. So this is also promo. Now we're getting a little further away from Badfinger. This album, it's okay. It's kind of like the one I just played. I showed you. It's good, but it's one of those where you just sort of like, oh, kind of left you wanting more of the actual band itself of Badfinger. And then to make things even more exciting, here's the record. And like I said, this is a white label promo of this one, which is kind of nice. And then for those of you that are my little more hardcore collectors, this is a Badfinger bootleg. This is a little bit trickier to get, a little bit pricey. Here's your track listing on it. It has some good stuff on it, but there's a lot of stuff on here I have never heard of. So there's a lot of songs on here which may have Pete in a lot of the early stuff, which is kind of neat for the bootleg wise. It has a lot of Pete, which was great for the lead singer. And that was also a 2-record set. Hang in with me. I know this is kind of a long video. I appreciate you hanging in and listening. That's for sure. By this time also, one of the other guys, Tom, who was in the band Badfinger, just can't get over the whole thing of Pete committing suicide. So Tom, who's in the band as well, in 83, yeah, I think it's 83, he commits suicide as well from the band. So we lose another band member of an original of them. And this is a terrific album. This was kind of one of their last albums, and this is actually very hard to find as an original pressing. And I know Tim Allen has this album, and also Been Fishing for Jesus. He's got a promotional copy of this album, which that's really cool. I've never seen a promo of it. So yeah, Tim Allen's got one as well. Not a promo, but just the regular copy album. My copy is from the UK, and you can pick these up pretty cheap, but actually my copy is an original copy, which, you know, a lot of them are like that, and I paid a ton of money for the one I've got. It's amazing of what they go for, especially. And then recently Rhino reissued the album. This is still sealed because I'm going to leave it sealed. I haven't opened it, but this is a new copy, and it's, let's see, over here, is it? But this is on green vinyl, kind of like a colored green vinyl, and I've seen it. It's kind of a nice green, kind of like this coloring here. But anyway, I might buy another copy, but this is from like Barnes and Noble. They did a couple years back, and they're still out there. They're still available. But that's a terrific album. It really is. And you may say, Beetle Brad, I love your collection. That's great, but I really don't want to go out and chase down all the albums and spend a lot of money and do all of that. Well, I totally understand each and every one of you being on a budget. So there's this one, which is the, it's a different cover because the cover got lost, so I had to make my own. But this is a Badfinger Greatest Hits CD. And this is the way to go. If you don't want to buy all the other stuff, go out and buy the Greatest Hits CD. And it's fantastic. It really is. It's got all the hits on it, plus a lot of other stuff. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. Where'd that come from? Come and Get It, the 45. Excellent. And this was a huge hit. I didn't mention it in the albums. I didn't want to point out the big hits on the albums. I wanted you to kind of explore them on your own. Baby Blue was a big, big, big hit. There's the picture disc on that as well. And then this was kind of like a follow-up. I haven't seen this on vinyl. I've seen it online on vinyl, but this is a very good one as well. This is kind of like one of their very, very last. But this is the CD of it, and it's good. I like it. It's not fantastic. The vinyl of this is frightfully expensive, and I'm not too sure why. Maybe because it's towards the end of them. And then this is another collectible. This is EP of, and then Badfingers on that. And the cool thing about this is, let's see if we can do this so it won't wreck. But it slides out like this. And there's your CD in there. So this kind of pivots. But anyway, isn't that kind of cool? And this is a promo as well of Badfinger and a couple other groups. And also a few years ago, I've got I didn't show it because of my time. I'm not going way too long. There's a box set that was kind of like the best of the Apple years. And I've got that as well, and that's definitely really, really good because that has all kinds of Apple bands like, you know, James Taylor and Billy Preston and stuff like that, you know, people that were signed to Apple. So, but this was just a little segment that I wanted to show you, give you, kind of expand your mind a little bit on saying, okay, I'd like to maybe pick up a couple Badfinger albums. Maybe when you're at the record store, maybe pick up one or two. Definitely start off with some of the ones that I showed you that were kind of the earlier ones. Start off with some of those, and I think you'll be surprised of what great hits were on Badfinger. They certainly were on the radio. VH1 did a documentary called Badfinger, and that's a fantastic video. I saw it for years. Never recorded it and never could find it, but you know, it's still out there, still available. It'd be a good one. It's like a history of Badfinger. Plus, there's tons of videos on YouTube and lots of other information about Badfinger on YouTube if you want to follow up and kind of find some more. But this is just my little collection of Badfinger that I thought I would share with you to kind of get you up and going on Badfinger. So, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to my new subscribers. Welcome to Beetle Brad's channel. Appreciate you hanging in there with me for this long video. And as I say, I am out of here. Take care, everybody. Great to see you. Take care.